Hello, guys. Welcome back to Say More podcast. I'm your host, Phoebe Hagen, and we are here today with a special guest that, to be fair, I wanted to interview her before the Olympia, and I'm so excited to be able to do it now. We have Jasmine Gonzalez, known as Jazzy Fresh. Hello, my girl. How are you been doing?
So good, girl. I'm so excited to be here to talk with you
I
finally. It's been so long.
I know, like it's so much has happened. Like in I feel like such a short space of time, but then when I actually like broke it down and kind of had a look at stats and stuff, and I was like, no, this has been over a period of like I'd say like 4 years. Like so
Yeah.
much has happened in that time. So I'm really excited to kind of break it down today and stuff like that. But yeah, how's your week been so far?
Pretty chill, just
Yeah.
been getting to work, especially with post Olympia. Obviously, you got people hitting me up, setting things up. I'm getting ready to do some meet and greets, like setting things up for
Nice.
like next year, but also just my like coaching business, like getting girls on, taking care of them. So I've just been busy, man.
Yeah, booked and busy, and that's what we like to hear, which is
Love
so
it.
exciting. I mean, we'll get into all of that today. Like that's one thing like I'm so excited to like break down just your mindset behind one entering just Olympia in general, but also like the mindset of like you taking time off because that's a huge thing. That's a huge part of your journey that you did. Like you took a really significant amount of time off. And I feel like I'm just excited to get into that. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, I mean, what I want to do to start off with is kind of just introduce yourself. So like what I guess got you into bodybuilding as kind of like a starter, and we can kind of break down just your journey in general because I'd love to know just more about it, really.
100%. Yeah. So I started actual like bodybuilding in 2017, but like if I go back a year, I had actually been so in 2015 I left Okinawa, Japan. I was in the military and stationed out there for about 3 years. So after I left Japan, where my lifestyle was revolved around like drinking, partying, like doing the most, I was smoking cigarettes, eating like gas station kind of food, Taco Bell. That was my
Wow.
life for like 3 years out there and even previously. So when I left, I got to Paris Island, which is in South Carolina. That's where Marines go for boot camp. So I got stationed there to become a instructor for the field. So they have field
Hmm.
instructors that work with what's called Weapons Field Training Battalion. This is where recruits go to get like trained up in their field and combat skills and different things like that. So we are the ones who teach them those things. So I was in charge of teaching them preparation skills and to defend themselves against chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear
Wow.
attacks. So I was in charge of the gas chamber classes. So I would put
What?
recruits through a
What? I
class
did
and
not
then
know
they had to do a
this.
simulation through the gas chamber. What we do is we crack open CS gas pellets and we do a lot of it in boot camp training to make it really intense. So what that does, it's like tear gas. It like tears up your eyes. It's very irritant. So we put them through that kind of training. The rappel tower as well. We like kind of throw them off towers and shit. But it was cool. So that was
What?
my
That's
life
sick.
during that time. And so like when I got there, I wasn't with my usual group of friends that I created, back in Japan. It was very close knit. So once everybody leaves, you go to different coasts all over the United States or different countries that you're stationed. So had to find new friends, but people were just different. And so I was like, all right, I need to change like what I'm doing. I don't want to be traveling 2.5 hours to go meet up with my old homies and go get lit. It's getting
Yeah.
tiring. So I was around 23 years old at that time. And I had seen a really good friend of mine that was stationed in Japan with me. We used to smoke and joke and party all the time together. And I remember she had been going to the gym. She was pretty like in it. But then I seen she competed in the show and she had done figure at that time. And I was like, oh shit, you look good. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, but I
Yeah.
want to like get healthy and some shit, go to the gym. Can you tell me who you work with? So I hired her coach that she had. His name is Billy Glowacki, and he's the first person who ever introduced me to training and macro counting and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you, I was the worst lifestyle client ever. I lied to him every week about hitting my acting like
No.
you didn't know. Like, I'm like, "Hey, everything's perfect, you know?" But I
Yeah.
was getting used to the training part, like really
Hmm.
invested in that because I love the training part. So I would find myself just sitting in the gym for hours figuring out how to just squat, how to do, RDLs, the basic movements. And when I fell in love with that for about a year, and after that year, I finally decided, you know what, I want to get into an actual competition. But what drove me there is my last year in military was really tough. I was going through a lot of like mental health stuff. I have like, some previous things that had happened in my time in the military that just kind of drove me into a really bad place mentally. So
Mm.
I leaned in on the process of, the training and all that. I was like, let me take this serious and actually get into a prep. So at that point, I had hired a girl at the gym. She was a trainer at the gym. She did a couple figure competitions. And so she prepped me for my first show. And I went to my first show in 2017 and I got sixth place. It was at the Clash. And I completely bombed that shit. I completely, my routine was not shit. Like, cause I'm so militant that like, and so like, this is like I said, my last year of the military. So when the expediter like told me front pose, back pose, that's it. I was like, I sir.
No, I can imagine you. Did you just go walk, 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 front,
Literally
turn?
walk, front. I did the old school stallion pose, turned around to the back, and I waved and I left.
No transitions, no nothing. Oh my god, I can imagine that as well. That's jokes.
I was like, oh shit. He said front pose, back pose, that's it. I got you. And I could hear my people saying, slow down. It's like, nah, he said, get in and out. I'm out.
You're like,
So
I'm following orders at this point.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So, I
funny.
got sixth at the show, and I guess my only goal, like, 'cause I didn't know anything about competing. I was very out of touch with social media being in the military. We had
Mhm.
to present a certain image being in the military. So, being involved in social media was just a thing that I would just refrain from. So, I didn't know anything about the industry, but all I knew that was top 5 qualifies you for some shit. And so I was like, I want top 5. And I
Yeah.
got sixth. So I was
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
okay. It's
almost.
it's okay. Almost there. Whatever. So from there I was like, okay, I had seen at that show a team and I was like, okay, I want to, join a competition team. And so I got with, a competition team and, did another show maybe a month later and I got second. I was like, okay, now I'm qualified. And Tim Gardner was actually, that was one of his shows in Florida. And he told that coach she should go to nationals. And I was like, nationals, whatever that is, but let's
What is that?
go nationals. So I go and I do junior USAs and I got fourth place at my first national show. And I'm like, great, I have no idea what's after this, but I know I need to do another show. So I go to junior nats and I get third. And my coach at the time says, you're so close to your pro card. And I'm like, what's a pro card? That's great.
You're just floating about at this point. You're like,
I'm
let's just
literally
keep
just
going.
having a grand old time because,
Yeah.
like I said, I was going through such a tough time mentally that bodybuilding literally instilled so much like power into me that I felt like I didn't have, over my certain situations I was dealing with. So it gave me such a good sense of control in my life that I was like, oh, if I keep doing better and I'm progressing in this, I'm just going to keep going. So at that point, I had like decided to work with somebody else that I knew was a little more serious as a coach. And so I got with them like that summer because at this point it was junior nats. And then just a few weeks later, I get with a new coach. And at that point, just a few months later, go to nationals in November 2017. I won my pro card. But the funny thing is, I still didn't know it was happening because I didn't know at that show top 2 gets their pro card.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so I was like, I know that if you're in the middle, you might get first place. And my class was the only one that they didn't do 6 in the first call out to think that the middle 2
Oh.
will get. And they only had the 5. So my coach is telling me, you're getting your pro card. I'm like, I wasn't in the middle. No, I'm not. He's like, top
Yeah.
2 gets the pro card at this show. I was like, oh, but I don't know if I'm top 2. And so
I'm
it
not
was
too
just
sure. Like, which way does it
yeah.
go?
Yeah. So I was like, cool. So then the next day finals happened and I won my pro card. And so at that point, I'm like, this is great. But I had no idea what that meant till, even doing like my rookie year as a pro in 2018, where, I did Pittsburgh, got 13th, and everybody thought I was crazy because I was so happy. I got third call out and I got off stage in my pro debut and I'm screaming, and all these girls are looking at me like, bitch, like, okay. I'm like, I'm
I
like,
love that though. Like you're just so excited to just do the sport, and that's what it should
yeah.
be, and that's so nice. Like I love that.
Yeah. So, because you don't know, like when you don't know anything and you're like, oh, I'm just doing better. This is so cool. You kind of like ride on that. And it's what propelled me through my career all the time. It's just seeking constant improvements. All right. So, and I actually met Lauralie and Jen at my third show as a pro at Toronto Pro. And that was where I got my first top 5, where Lauralie won. I think Jen had gotten second or third at that show, and I got 4th. Yes, Jen got second, I got 4th at that show.
Nice.
And we all had no idea where our lives are going to be going from there, but it was pretty damn cool to
Yeah.
see now, like where we all are today kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's essentially, the storyline of like how I got into bodybuilding. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I mean, firstly, I love it because you're kind of, like you said, you were just riding that wave of like, I don't know where this is going to take me. I have no initial like vision or goal, but it's something that I'm enjoying. It's getting me through like one of the toughest times of my life. Let's just keep going. And that's so beautiful. And that's like such a great part of your journey. So like from then to now to see that. And I bet looking back on that, you're like, that's such a proud moment. Like we got through it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So
Because, when you recognize that, like, more problems in life are going to come along,
mhm.
and of course, like everyone knows, I took time away because I had another
Yeah.
mental health crisis that I needed to take care of.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, for that part, though, I guess we could speak on that,
Hmm.
taking time away, is it came a point where bodybuilding wasn't fulfilling what I needed. There
Yeah.
was the point where bodybuilding gave me what I needed to get through a mental health issue, but this time around, it was not the case. So I had to
Hmm.
step away because it was actually taking more than it was giving me at
Yeah.
that point. And I had to be real with myself. I had been in 2021, 2022 is when I finally took my break. I at that point was competing straight for 5 years. I hadn't taken any time off. The most time I take off was the end of a prep to the beginning was like 8 weeks, but
That's
like I'd
crazy.
mess around and do the most. Like I wouldn't reverse right, so it would make the next prep even harder. And the older you get, it doesn't get any easier for the way that your body responds. And especially if you're in prep after prep, your body doesn't respond as easily as it did. It's tired. It needs, time off in general. And so then
Hmm.
throw in the mental being off kilter too. I had to step back because my career was as a competitor was being affected. But not only that, my career as a coach, me just as a person in general, like I was not performing the way that I knew I needed to. And I
Hmm.
recognized that in 2022. But, being an athlete who's, very gung ho and stubborn, you think you can continue to push through. And that's what I thought I was able to do come 2022. Because in 2021, I had a very big blow to my confidence with the situation that happened. And it just kind of threw me off mentally. And I thought, okay, I went through with the Arnold that year, and I also went through with that Olympia in 2021,
Mm.
which was the last Olympia I was at before this one. And I got like, if I counted the call outs and everything, there was like 32 girls. I got like 27th or 28 out of like 30 something girls when
Mm.
I had the previous year placed ninth, at my first Olympia. So at that point, I knew shit was off because I didn't bring it. I did not bring it. I brought like the
Yeah.
worst look ever. I looked worse than like a natural amateur competitor. Like I'm telling
And
you,
it's
I'm saying a
it's
natural amateur competitor who's not even ready for a show is how bad I looked. And it it was glaring. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna bring it back in 2022 because that was not it. But I was like fighting against the fact that there was shit I had to address and take care of. But being stubborn, I continued on, and 2022 was no different. I didn't do any better. You know, continued, yeah, to place a couple top fives, but that's what I was doing already. And then I did my last show of the season. I got sixth back in August 2022. And at that point, I was like, there's only like another month left to Olympia qualification. My mind is already tapped out. Like, I can go cool, get my qualification, but then I still got to prep all the way till October again.
Olympia.
And like, I'm already done. And I'm not going to go have another repeat of a 2021 Olympia showing. So
No.
at that point, that's when I like tapped out. I like called it off, no more competing. And at that point, man, the year after that was very, very trying. And I'm so happy that I took the time off because I had to just take time to discover myself. Like if I think about it, ever since 18 years old, I was always in a position of restriction. So I didn't really get the chance to discover who I was or get to know who I am outside the confines of either the military or the being and competing, you know, being
There's
in
always
this
been an
process.
identity. Like there's always
It's
been just
always something.
military bodybuilding. There's never been
Exactly.
like jazzy, you know? That's
I never had
insane.
that time to just breathe and be me. I was always in something, doing, performing as a certain role and versus just being me. So had to take that time, learn myself, understand what about myself was causing me to get into bad relationships, whether it's personal with friends or whatever it was. What was I putting out there, or what was it about me that allowed these things to take over or affect me the way it did? And so I had to really dive deep into some, you know, traumas and all of this type of healing and really get to a certain level of self-awareness so that I can get out of that hole that I was in. And so going into 2023, I still was like 50-50 about like, oh, I'm going to get in prep early in 2023, but I had
Yeah.
to like hold the
Hold
horses
back.
because life was not where it needed to be
Yeah.
financially, not mentally, no. So I was like, you know what, let me stop. Like that part of me needs to chill. And so I took more time off. Like I even like took the time to like work one of the craziest jobs that I never imagined myself working, and I worked as a server in a strip
I know
club.
I said that I was kind of like, I want to know more about this. Like, what made you want to, I mean, again, it's an
Yeah.
opportunity that you kind of just took and you were like, let's run
Yeah.
with
So
it. But
like
like,
I needed to
what was
make
that?
money at this point. You know, my 2022 was so financially draining. Like that year, the stuff that drove me into the mental health crisis I had was like family issues, having to really help with like some things that were going on. Like I was helping still pay for a place out in California when my family lived there. And so I'm also living in Tampa. Like I'm stretched thin, and then trying to do competing. It's like so much is like, it was stretching me thin. So going into 2023, I was like, I needed to start making some quick money. I had stopped coaching too because I wanted to separate, because mentally I could not take care of people because I needed to
Yeah.
take care of myself. So
And I
that
love that you
income,
did that because I remember you
yeah,
saw and you were like, I'm not taking on. I remember seeing that and I remember being like, respect, because so many people would have pushed through, so many people would have just hid it. But I think you said, I'm not mentally in a position to take care of myself, so I'm not taking on clients either.
yeah,
That's
I don't want to
so
affect people's
good.
journeys. You know, people deserve to get the best out of a coach. And if I'm not my best, I'm not going to give you the best service. So I would feel
Yeah.
even worse. So that's what was happening is like, if I was underperforming, it made me feel worse about myself. So it was like this terrible cycle of just like abuse to myself. And I was like, you know, I got to step away and find something else that's not as mentally taxing or involved. So once I stepped away from coaching, you know, clients online, I was like, you know what, I need something else. And a friend of mine that I was good friends with back then, she also wanted to get work. And so she used to have some friends, people that worked in that industry, and said, oh, we could get into this place, like working as servers or VIP hosts or whatever. And I'm like,
Why not?
all right, let's go. You know, we want to go baseball, let's do it. It
Yeah.
was, it was the best time. I ever had. And of
I
course,
love
being,
that.
a bodybuilder, you stand out wearing like the little server, like
Mm.
leotard with the fishnets. Got my
The
muscles.
muscles popping,
I got
everything.
guys asking me to flex, and I'm like, that ain't free, bro. You gotta tip me. Hitting like a most muscular.
Oh
So
my God, that's hilarious. That's
it was
so funny.
great. Like you would expect, of course, there's craziness that happens in that sense,
Yeah.
but like I was able to carry myself a certain way that I got like
Mhm.
pretty good respect, and people like that about me. And so like I tipped more
That's
for
good. You like got
it
that
was
money, you
lit.
know? Like I
Yeah.
again, it's a part of your journey that you were like, it's completely different and it's gonna help
Yeah.
me, like you said before, discover who I am and how I
Yeah.
handle myself. And if you didn't like that part of your life, you could have moved on to the next. But you were like, no, I enjoy it. It's fun, it's different. Let's roll with it. And I think it's very similar to how you got into bodybuilding from what it sounds like. You just went with it. It wasn't a case of like, oh, I don't know, like I'm not too sure. This is this. Like, oh, you just said, yep, let's give it a go. And like, and then that journey started from there. So it's nice to hear that. It's nice to hear it
And
rolled
it
like that.
taught me a lot, like I said, about myself, but it also helped me gain a new level of confidence and ability to speak my mind. Obviously, in that environment where you got some weirdos or just men in general, if you're going to control a situation, you got to have a certain level of confidence and be able to speak. So that helped me so much in that regard, which just pushed my ability to like handle relationships with people a
Yeah.
lot better because I got more people skills outside of just the military or bodybuilding. I got around like regular people, was able to just get different walks of life in and out and just like experience that. And it helped me so much more than I gave it credit at first. Because you're like, oh, you're working at a strip club, you
The
know?
the
But
name itself is
was
sometimes hard
so
because you're
it
like,
was
oh,
so
it's this.
necessary. It was so necessary. It gave me a whole different perspective on how to view life too, because again, you get so wrapped up in the nuance of restriction and all of the like go, 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 go. It gave me a moment to breathe and look at life a little bit differently so that when I was ready to be like, I'm ready to be back on my shit 100%, like it was crazy. As soon as I quit that job, I contacted Cash and we got started and I was ready. I was like, we are ready to go. I am back,
Yeah.
man.
And
And
you
that was the
just
end of
know that
2023.
feeling. That's so
Mm-hmm.
nice. And that you said that was the end of 2023 or the mid
Yeah,
when
it
was
was like
that?
around September 2023. The beginning of then is when I started with Cash, and then I competed in
Nice.
November.
Nice, nice. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So I want to quickly rewind because I want to talk more about the time you had off and like just the feelings you kind of went through. So obviously you said it was 2021, your last Olympia, or was it
Yep.
2022? 2021, right.
2021.
So what did you feel? Because again, a lot of people can probably relate to this anyway, but obviously from previous before, obviously you had a great placing of ninth place. That's insane for first Olympia. Then second, obviously one, you got lower. How did you, I guess, kind of handle that hit? Because I know a lot of people struggle already from going from a higher place to a slightly lower place, not just placing in general, but physique wise, not bringing their best. How did you then know, okay, let's take myself out and let's try and actually take time off? Like what went through your mind during that period? Does that make sense?
So with that, after the 2021 Olympia, like, so thing with me is I'm very objective about things. So I'm able to sit back and reflect, especially if I know, say I don't get into like the first call out of any show. Immediately when I'm sitting there, I'm like, what went wrong? Like, what did I do wrong? What was wrong about the prep? Because I'm not going to sit there and be sad because oh, I didn't get the placing.
Yeah.
Most times than not, you deserve the placing that you get. So it's like, let me see, was my work ethic there? Was everything in check? And I could sit back and be like, no, not if I can say no to something on my list of things that I should have done or had in check. If I could say no, then that's it. Like, if I know I need to improve something, that's it. That's all I need in my head. It could be the smallest thing, and people are like, that's such a small thing. Hey, if I could pick one tiny little thing, something was off about anything, I'm running with that and know I need to improve that. So I don't sit much on the how do I feel about this. I just know, oh, I got to improve. I got to work better. And so that's why I decided instead of taking time off, I was like, I'm coming to 2022 and I'm going to do. And that's when
Yeah.
shit like flopped at the end of the day because I was going through so much, you know. But that's when when I noticed I was repeating the patterns of just, it's just not working, you know, the definition of insanity, you know, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I was like, that's why in 2022, after I got my first show this season, I got like 11th or 12th, and then I got 2 second places at Chicago and then Tampa Pro. But then I went to the Pacific USA and I got 6th, and that's when I said, okay, yeah, I finally am done. Because
Yeah.
the Olympia is in 2 months from now, and I just got 6th place, and you know it's gonna be another run to get another show. Like I don't know if this is gonna happen again, and I'm not doing it. And that's when I finally had the revelation of I just don't want to bring an unimproved package to this Olympia, and that's what finally told me to sit down
Yeah.
because I just didn't want to not have the opportunity to improve.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think I love, again, everything you said within that, because I think a lot of people, like you said before, will just keep going and keep going and keep going and just, which I think is good in some extent. But if there's no improvements, if there's things that you need to improve on, running yourself into the ground and keep going is going to do nothing for you. So I love that you sit back and you're like, I'm going to put my ego to a side, because at the end of the day, sometimes you're still getting that, you know, those top placings, those top 5s, but ultimately, is it going to be best, like my best physique for the Olympia? Probably not. So let's just take a sit back. I don't want to be on stage until I know I can be the best at the Olympia as well. Like show up for both of them, not just the shows, which I think is a great mindset to have. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd already
It is.
completed your top 10 Olympia. You're like, I want to get there again. I don't want to get any lower than that, you know? So, I mean, how did that feel in 2022? That's the show where you play sick and you were like, let's just cut it.
That was, you know, because prejudging, so that was the thing. Prejudging had went a whole other way, you know, and my body had changes so swiftly, and it was honestly due to stress because I was in California around my family and all the craziness that was happening then. And so it was so much that it was like in my face. So when I went to prejudging and going from 2 second places, you're hoping that this one is the win. And then you go to prejudging and you're like, okay, you're possibly top 4. But then you come to finals and I got 6th. I didn't even get
Yeah.
called into the top 5. I was like, holy shit, you know, this was crazy. And I was just like, this is just a sign I gotta stop. I'm done. Like, I even told myself going into that show, I was like, if this doesn't happen, if I don't get the win here, I literally was already going into that San Diego show, like, mentally stressed and like, if I don't get the win here, I think I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm done. I don't think I have any more to go for the qualification because I'm really banking on getting this win, taking a few weeks just to decompress before having to prep for the Olympia kind of thing. But it didn't happen. I knew like then and there was like, I told myself before the show, if it's not it, it's not it. But it was even more of a, I thought at least maybe getting a top 5 would be like,
Yeah.
getting out of the top 5 was for sure confirmation that the universe was like, no, ma'am. I think it
Yeah.
needed to happen that way because
I was
maybe
just
if
about
I
to
would
say
have
that.
gotten like 2nd or 3rd at that show, part of me would have continued going, been like pushed to go for another one and kind of thing, and it would
Where's
have
the
just
end
not.
though?
Hmm.
Yeah. And I love that you said like it was the universe's sign to say like, look, you need this time off because bigger and better things will come out of this if you just relax and just take your time with bodybuilding, which I think not enough people here. I think people obviously see, you know, as pros compete over and over and over again, but ultimately you do need rest in between that, and it's
Hmm.
super important. I think that's one thing that I want to try and stress as much as I can, is that rest is important in between all your shows that you do. And then the rest that you do take is like actual rest, like not like, you know, going 100 miles an hour and doing this, like actual rest in between that. And like it's so important.
Like, and my
So
year that I
important.
took off, like, people probably wouldn't understand. Like, I didn't train like I train now. I was probably training 2 days, 3 days a week, doing like no cardio. I was I wasn't even tracking food like that. I'll track for like a week, and then for 2 weeks I won't track at all, like intuitively ate kind of thing. And like I came to cash with needing to put on some muscle again, kind of thing. Cause
Damn.
I look different. Like I had my shape and all that, but like I was weighing 130 something pounds, and that compared to like where I was when I was actively like in the gym, it was different. So I had to put on some
Yeah.
muscle going into that 2023 show, which after the rest, it was able to happen kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it's like that muscle memory shit just like bounced back like nothing. But I took so much time away from just the whole craziness. I kind of just was moving intuitively, like doing movements and things that made my body feel good. Like if I wanted to go to the gym, like I had in my head daily, like I'll wake up, if I feel like I'm good to go push at the gym, I'm gonna go. But if I wake up and I just want to go out for a walk or something, that's what I'm gonna do. Get out to the beach, get some sunshine, just go out with people, friends, and just like live a little bit more.
And
Yeah.
I honestly, every single word, I was like, yes, because that's exactly what I'm going through at the moment. And it feels
I
really
see
nice. And
you.
again, it's the same that when I said this to you and I sent you the voice note and I said, I'm super inspired by how I saw your journey of you, competing, having all that time off and then coming back and literally dominating just 2023 and 2024, which we will get to. But like, I'm still like, go. Like, do you understand what just happened? Like, oh my God. But anyway, we'll get into that. But because I'm in that position now, your journey is so relatable. And since I've been sharing my journey, I think you've also been sharing your journey. So many more people have come up and said, do you know what? I actually feel like that as well. So, I mean, when you were
Hmm.
going through your rest and time off and all that type of thing, when you did, you said you were intuitive with your body, with training and nutrition and everything. Like if you wanted to train, you trained. If wanted to track, you tracked, but most of the time you're intuitive. How did you feel with that mindset? Because I know a lot of people struggle with if they feel any form of guilt, they feel like they feel lazy, they feel
Hmm.
like not an athlete when they're doing that. So how do you feel like how you got past it, if like seeing past like just all the
Yeah.
athlete side of it and just allowing yourself to rest?
So it was always in the back of my mind kind of thing. I was like, man, I'm not training like I should. I'm not eating the way, I'm probably not eating enough protein because I wasn't like overeating either. It's like I would eat like 2 or 3 times in the day. And I'm like, I feel like I'm not eating enough, but it was okay. I would always reassure myself saying, when the time is right for you to get back in it, you're going to get back in it and do it right. It's not like you're going to just go back in it. So like even right before like I started with Cash, I had like 2 months where I started the reforming phase where I was back in the gym, going consistently 4 or 5 days a week. I was like semi tracking food, making sure I got my protein in. But I gave myself like 2 months to do that before like I quit that one job and then I got back into competing. But like I knew I was going to give myself enough time to redevelop what I needed to before jumping into it. So I just reassured myself, I'm like, you're not just going to go and think you're going to go from this position and start a prep and go to the stage. Like that would be silly. Knowing what I know and knowing what I've experienced and knowing where I'm at, I'm like, I knew I was not hitting my food or going to the gym. So how would I go from this, especially being a pro and wanting to go to Olympia? I was not going to sit back and expect that I'm just going to jump into prep and hope for the best kind of thing. So I wasn't beating myself up. I was like, when the time is coming, it's time's coming. Time for a regrowth phase is gonna come. I'll do the regrowth and then I'll get into a prep. So if right now I'm not 100% on everything, it's okay. I'm Gucci. I'll get back to it and develop and do what I need to because I'll give myself the time. Like I'm not gonna harp on a year of being away from the process and thinking it's gonna diminish my whole life and my gains. And if it does, guess what? I have every opportunity to redo and restart and go back into the process again and grow muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to.
Love that. Yes, because I think a lot of people sometimes can be short-minded versus like seeing longevity with the sport, seeing the bigger
Yeah.
picture, and they see this short period of time that they might be struggling and they think everything's ruined. when it's not always the case. You have to say, yep, I need this time to, like you even said you had time before Cash, like 2 months before, just to ease yourself back into just doing things, because you don't want to go to Cash kind of like almost like
No.
just whatever, because then you also
Uh-huh.
don't, you want to respect him as a coach as well, to be like, I know I can be on my shit, but I know I need to give myself time to be able to also do that. And that's, again, that's part of being an athlete, like knowing when you need to either slow down, whether you need to give yourself more time, whether you need to do whatever for yourself. And I think that in itself is be what being an athlete is, versus just doing the do, if that makes sense, like tracking and
Hmm.
training. And it's actually creating that mindset of when I need to do things instead of
Yup.
just doing them all the time, if that makes sense. So
It does
I
make
love that.
sense.
I
Yeah.
love that. I really, really love that, because I think again, it's hard, because especially at the top level, it only gets harder. But I think anyone in the amateur, league listening or going after their pro card, I think they struggle with having that off moment where let's slow down and let's kind of like recoup, and like they just think go go go, let's just keep going. And sometimes it is a mentality of like, you know not keep pushing, but like obviously never giving up, because you want to keep going and fighting after your dreams, but also
I
like
think
take
it's
time.
like rooted honestly in relevancy. The sport is so fast
Hmm.
moving. And as a pro too, especially, and going to the Olympia top spots kind of thing, a lot of us don't want to lose relevance in our journey. There's new pros
Hmm.
coming up. There's pros that have been going that are improving, that are possibly going to be highlighted. So it's like very easy to feel like you're going to lose relevancy in this sport if you're not actively out there, being on the scene and the circuit, getting the top placings at pro shows and all that stuff. So that pushes people to want to continue to never give up and
Hmm.
continue going. But like, if I proved anything, is the opposite of that, you know?
Hmm.
Like, I used
Hmm.
to be the one who ran the circuit. I did 12 shows in 2019. My average number of shows was anywhere
Wow.
between 6 to 8 shows a year. And it was to get established essentially, but because I was chasing, of course, those qualifications, but it was also in my head that I had to get out in front of the judges. They had to see me. They need to keep seeing me so they don't forget me.
And that in itself, like, I honestly think is just bullshit. Like, I think, I don't know where that kind of came from. Like, that, like, you need to keep going or else they're going to forget your face. Like, most of the time, like, Sandy always says that she barely looks at our faces
Yeah,
anyway.
she's
She's
neck
looking at
down.
yeah, literally. And she's like, I literally look at your neck down to your ankles. I don't even know what shoes you're wearing. Like, I don't care. I'm looking at your body. Like, I
Yep.
think these things sometimes can be like these irrelevant facts sometimes can be the forefrontex of our head, and we think, okay, cool, that's going to keep us going, where then the focus comes off of the actual importance, which is the bloody body. Do you know what I mean? The body, the symmetry, that
Hmm.
all the criteria that the judges are looking for. So I love that you've mentioned that, and obviously just said like, look, I'm proof of it, which you are, which is absolutely incredible. We're gonna literally get into that now. So I mean, I don't even know where to start, but like, I want to kind of start with like you going into your 2023 season. So, like, how did you,
Yeah.
again, it's all about how you felt, but like, I just like to get into the mind of how you
Yeah.
felt, of like
There's
getting into,
no pressure. The best thing about taking such a long time away is that it seems like people forgot about you. So nobody's thinking of you to be the top spot. So there's zero pressure on you. You get to just kind of coast through your journey, doing it like you did as your first time competing kind of thing. So it was absolutely the best prep going into 2023's show, and then even in 2024, because yeah, I did that 2023 show, but I got second, and I did
Mhm.
like wow the judges. I remember Serge, and I can't remember his name. He's gonna probably kill me if he ever sees this, but they were like, wow, like you, like we were like, holy shit. I was like, yeah, I
You
said I
were a
was gonna bring it
different
good.
shape. You
You
were a
know, I'm
different
just gonna
Jazzy.
I brought it improved. And so it's like, it was like, whoa, we didn't expect that kind of thing from you. And it's like, okay, what do I need to improve on? You know, and I got my feedback. And of course, it was like the last show of the year. So we just went into the improvement season from December because I still needed to grow. Because, like I said, I only took like that little bit of time before I got with Cash to kind of get back into it. But it was not like I was pushing like PRs. And of course, I got in with him. I was pushing PRs, but I was in a deficit. So I got into my improvement season from after that show all the way till April. And that gave me like 4 or 5 months of like intentional training, eating in a, maintenance surplus, and just getting all that I needed to with development. So again, 2024, it felt like people kind of saw me, but they didn't really see me yet. So nobody's
Yeah.
paying attention to me. And
You were the
again, no
definition of an
pressure.
underdog. You were the definition of an underdog, and I
Like,
love it. I
I was
love
like,
it.
nobody's with me right now. Nobody's talking. It's okay. It's all right. It's good. Like, I didn't care, at the end of the day. I was just doing me, and that's how I work. I operate. I'm like, I'm just going to do what I need to do, and that's it. I just do the work day in, day out, clock it in, and I'm good. And so going into the shows that I did Orlando Pro, and then I did Atlanta. And Atlanta, I, won the show. And still, the thing is, those two shows, it's not like it's a Pittsburgh or New York, They're good shows, but it's not like everybody's eyes are on who's really winning it kind of thing yet, or who's doing well. So again, still, nobody's really, again, talking about me. So when the Olympia call, like, predictions and stuff start coming out, and nobody got me on none of they top 10 or 15s. And I'm like,
This is the thing. It's like the thing is, people expect things from certain people, right? Like
certain people.
from certain
Hmm.
people they expect certain things, and then
Yeah.
again, it's a prediction, so they don't see it as like, right,
Yeah.
this is the forefront text. But again, you have your certain set of people. So I think you were the only one that snuck in, and everyone was like, holy shit, like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?
And that,
Like,
because of the fact that nobody had me in their predictions, again, gave me another level of no pressure,
mhm,
because nobody's going to expect it, and nobody's really expecting me to be there. But
mhm.
then, nobody's expecting me not to be there. So it
Yeah,
was like, I'm just going to show up and show out. That's it.
yeah,
That's what I did.
exactly. And I love it because you think about
Was-
it. Yes, that's good though. But it's think about it as like, I like that you said you took the pressure off, because I think anyone in that situation, and I know I've been in that situation before, where I pile on the pressure because I think, okay, everyone's looking at me, or everyone's doing this, or everyone expects something from me, when actually not many, like no one really expects anything from you. They just want to see you at your best. So like there's
Mhm.
no point putting that external pressure on you for no reason. And I mean, my next question would be like, mindset wise, do you think that was the biggest difference from your 2021 Olympia to obviously 2024 Olympia, is that you just took that external pressure off yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It took all the pressure off myself to reach certain expectations.
Hmm.
And of course, going into 2021, obviously being ninth the year before, my expectation was at least to move up a couple spots.
Hmm.
That was it. And that pressure was there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot from that itself for now, because obviously I did not expect, obviously, third freaking place. So what does that do for me now going forward? Right?
Mm.
Do I expect to win? Do I expect to go to second? Absolutely not, yo. Like, I am just still blown by the fact that that even happened. What this did for me, it just gave me the belief in myself that I can be up there, that I actually can be in the mix. So going forward, it's just fueling me to work even harder, because I actually feel like I belong. And there's no pressure for me still. Like, yes, I
Hmm.
want to do better. Like, now I got third. Obviously, to move up, it'll be great. But all it did is excited me for the journey ahead, because my hope was just top 10 at this Olympia, to feel like I was in the conversation at least, or
Hmm.
at least like there, but to know that I have the ability and the potential to be at the top there and be there, all it did was like open my eyes more to like my potential and what I'm capable of doing and working in that and not selling
Mhm.
myself up short at any point throughout my journey ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I actually love that. Like, because again, all this external pressure that we put on ourselves doesn't allow us to perform at who we are and at our best ever. I always, every time I've even thought of myself of being too external, or I put way too much pressure on myself, or I've had too much pressure, it's always allowed me to be like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? I'm not enjoying this journey. I'm not enjoying the process. So, like, I even love now that you're like, it's just given me belief. Yes, I have expectations that I'd love to move up, but I'm also never going to put that external pressure on myself again because I want to enjoy this journey. I want to like live it to the fullest of its abilities. And I believe that I can do that now. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I love that for you because again, like sometimes it's hard going from those low points and you really go in the you in the ditches and you're like, can I even scrape top 10 again? Can I even get to a place in that even or a place that I want to get to ever again? And it's hard because then you're like, this is what I've worked for, right? So what happens if nothing comes from this? What then what, you know? But I
Yeah.
think that you again, you just proof in the pudding that you've just literally been like, look, I'm just doing this for the enjoyment. I want to do it because I love it versus having to do it or putting that pressure on yourself. So it's a beautiful story. It really is.
Thank
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
I love that so much for you. So, I mean, obviously, this is probably a massive question you always get, or you're getting now. What is next for you? Obviously, you're 2025 qualified, but what
Yes.
is, if you obviously want to share it, obviously you don't have to, but
Yeah,
what
I've been
is
sharing it.
next?
I applied for the Arnold USA, so
Love
that
that.
is
Love it.
going to be up next if I get the invite,
Nice.
and I'm possibly, if they do, I haven't seen any information on it, but the Arnold UK will definitely be
I'm
on the
I'm
list.
sure I'm sure they'll probably most of the time like last time they kind of put the information out so it was like the US and then the UK kind of followed, so I am sure they'll do it again, but like those are two really really good shows obviously you want to get into
Yeah,
because you obviously done the Arnolds before. What was your
I've done
experience
the
with the
Arnold
Arnolds
once
before?
before. What was
Yeah,
that?
how did you enjoy it? How did you enjoy the Arnolds
It
before?
was good. It was good, but it was overshadowed by what happened in 2021, with
Yeah.
switching coaches. Like it was overshadowed by that, so it was like hard. It was like I was in
Yeah.
that mental like
It's
it was
hard. It's
started bad.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
difficult.
that's
So
why I'm excited for this one because I haven't done the Arnold since 2021 either. So it'll be very, very different experience going into it, having, a different, team of people, the people by my side and my corner, just a whole different journey.
I love that. I actually love that so much. And I mean, is there anything, obviously, from you now getting, top three at the Olympia, that's like an incredible achievement for your bodybuilding career. I mean, what is it that you want to do? I mean, regardless, even if you got it or not, but what does your kind of, I guess, legacy or like journey moving forwards from this point want to be? Like, what do you want to either prove to people? I say prove to people, but do for people, show for people. Like, what is it that you see vision wise for yourself?
So it's really to continue inspiring women in the sport who maybe are starting this in their mid 20s because after the show, I got a lot of women who are like asking me how old I am or like when I got started, because we get so used to seeing the younger women like who get a fast track of success and those are highlighted, but then what's not highlighted or like put out there is the people who are just regular, maybe in their mid 20s that didn't start this early on in their, youth, because I didn't start bodybuilding till I was 23, didn't compete for the first time till I was 24. So I want to just be able to continue inspiring women out there that it's never too late to get started on your journey, whether it's with your health and fitness or just with competing. It's like there's no limit to what you're able to accomplish. But then also like walking into the role as, top five at the Olympia, like I want to really be able to advocate more for the athletes, like, and especially as women athletes, like be able to put more effort into highlighting the women's divisions a bit more, getting some respect on our names just a little bit more so that there's a little more conversation about not just like what we're doing as pros, but like the amateurs too, like taking care of not just women, but the men too, like highlighting a little more about the coaching industry too, because I am a coach too. And I think it's a very unregulated industry and things that are happening at a level that I feel like there's a disconnect, or there is probably a connect. Like maybe the higher heads in the industry understand what's going on, or not, they don't, or turning a blind eye. But I want to be somebody that starts a conversation of like, what can we do to protect athletes a bit better? Because a lot happens that jeopardizes people's health, minds, and it can make the industry look not the greatest, could put a black eye on the industry if we continue to have, people passing away, people being injured, mentally distraught, because of this. It can easily get out that that's causing that to people. And I want to be able to advocate a little bit more for the athletes and see like what we can do to improve things just all around and make this industry a safer and better place.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. And I think it's something that, like you said, is definitely overshadowed. That I think people know obviously what go on in the industry, but again, like we said, it's something that's not talked about enough. Like it needs to be talked about enough so people can then, like, again, it's like you sharing your journey. Like someone could hear this and be like, cool, I feel okay because Jazzy felt this way, she gone through all this, so I'm okay to take time off, I'm okay to do this, and I'm not gonna resent bodybuilding for it, because it can happen where we get mentally burnt out, and then it comes a point where we blame bodybuilding for it. And unfortunately, it's not always bodybuilding, but it's because we pushed it too far. We don't know when the stop point is, so it's like, let's just keep going, and then we blame that. So I think it's good that you're like, I want to make sure that everyone's in a good spot so we can actually all enjoy bodybuilding in the process together.
Yeah,
So,
just be
and I love
aware,
that.
spread more awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that so much. Okay, so, and I mean, I've loved talking to you, and I want to literally like keep going and keep going. I mean, final question that I kind of have is like, I want to say like I say one thing. Is there one thing as for a first time athlete that you would kind of say, so someone that's literally completely brand new to bodybuilding, wants to get into the bodybuilding, what would you say is a great tip for them that that they can obviously help within their journey, like moving forwards? What is a one tip that you would say that would help them for them?
Find a coach that you truly align with beyond what they're able to like produce just result wise. Yes, we want to get with the coach who produces results. There's a lot of coaches out there that produce results, but the biggest thing is leadership style, and the way that you communicate is going to be very necessary in your journey overall. You want to be able to get with somebody who speaks to you in a way that it impacts you for you to execute and perform to the standard that they set. There's different ways of being coached. You can have a coach who's a cheerleader, you can have a coach who doesn't pay attention as much or is just more distance, or you have a coach who's direct, straight to the point kind of thing. Some people do better with a cheerleader type of coach. They need more words of affirmation. Somebody needs a coach that is direct, blunt, straight to the point. Some people don't need too much attention and is okay with a coach that isn't in their stuff. So you have to find somebody who aligns with you very well and speaks to the athlete within you and can develop your mind along the way. So I think that is like the most important thing first and foremost, because you need a coach to get through this journey. So I think the biggest tip is just finding someone you truly align with ideology, philosophy, and leadership style wise. I do so well with Cash because he is very direct to the point. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. And I think this comes from the fact that I was raised by a Latina mom and I was in the military. Very direct, straight to the point, no bullshit, cutthroat with shit. And people who are able to call you out on your bullshit, and I don't take offense to it. I'd rather somebody be really stern and like pretty much make me feel like I'm messed up. Like, I need to know that I'm messed up. I don't need you to tell me, hey, you've been cheating on your diet a little bit and it's okay. We need to fix
Mm.
things next. No, I need somebody to be like, yo, motherfucker, what you doing? Like, you wanna
Yeah,
step on stage and you wanna be fat. Like, I
yeah.
need that,
Because it
and that's
aligns with you. You're
it
used to
aligns
that
with
type of
me. So,
flex.
and that's
Yeah.
how I thrive under that type of leadership. And I had to figure that out. So I would say it's like sit with yourself and understand what do you truly need in a leader and somebody that's going to guide you in your journey. Write those leadership traits and styles down. And when you're interviewing coaches, ask them straight up, what's your leadership style? Don't tell them, I need a coach that's like this, because you can easily get somebody who tries to ship shape and stuff like
Hmm.
that, but they're not that. Tell them straight up, what is your leadership style and how do you coach your athletes in this specific situation? If I were to cheat on my diet, what would be your response to this? How would you respond to me? And see kind of like what would happen with
Hmm.
the way they converse with you so that you understand how you guys will connect and how they will communicate with you in certain situations.
I love that. I really do love that because I think coaching now more than ever is more than just a diet and training program. I think that's the one thing I think that is massively changed from like when, I mean, definitely way before when I started, like back in like, I don't even know, like 2010. But like when I started, I remember just being like, right, I'm just looking for the results. I'm just looking for someone to get me lean. And it's definitely not that anymore. It's a case of you need to find someone that's gonna help you develop a good relationship with food, a good relationship with training, like help you along the way versus just saying, do this, do that. But obviously at the same time, something that responds to you and also gets results. Like it's a mix of both. Like it's not just
Hmm.
this, do that. It's not a dictatorship. It's a connection. It's a partnership. Do you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I love that. I mean, what made you like? What made you um go towards Cash as a coach in general? Because you said obviously you were like, he's no bullshit. He's just good. Like, do you feel like that
Yeah,
was what you needed for
a
for you
hundred
moving
percent.
forwards? Yeah.
100%, because being where I wanted to go as an athlete, I didn't need compliments on my journey. I've had a previous coach and I learned a lot in that experience, but I recognized that it was hard to perform weekly or feel like I understood where things stood because every week it was an affirmation. It was every week it was you look great. And so I guess to me the difference like going to Cash is like he's very he's sparingly with his compliments. So it makes you work for it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like when he tells you you look good, you're like, "Fuck yeah, I
Yeah.
know I look good." Or like every week it's like, all right, keep working. Things are rolling where it needs to, and you're like, oh man, I need him. I'm gonna work harder so I could get that things look good text,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So the reason why I went to him is because, of course, I seen a couple other athletes that I had been good friends with kind of go over there, get good results, and they told me pretty much similar that he was just clear cut to the point, no bullshit. So I got on a phone call and again, getting on a phone with people to like see how they communicate really helps you get a good idea of what this person is going to be like with you. And so just speaking with him and just hearing how it was like no bullshit, it was just direct. It was like he didn't sugarcoat shit. It was like straight up, very real. And I was like, that's how I am with things. And that's how I need to be communicated things too. Like, I
Hmm.
don't need you to write me a whole paragraph about stuff when all you're telling me is we're changing diet and this, kind of thing. Like I just need clear cut, concise kind of stuff that is just going to lead me to the objective. Like, what's the objective? What's our mission? Like, what are the clear
Let's go.
checkpoints along the way?
Hmm.
hmm And as a
Nice.
top athlete, like you need more than just somebody cheering you along the way. A coach needs to coach your mind. They need to coach the process and they need to be clear about the vision that's ahead and how you're going to get there. And that's what I felt like the first conversation with Cash was. It was like, whoa, bro got the roadmap, but he's also not promising and over promising on things. It's just put in the work and we'll
We'll
see
see where it
exactly what's
lands.
resulted over time and then we'll know exactly when you're able to get on show. It wasn't, oh, I'm gonna pick when I get on stage or I want to do this show.
Yeah.
No, I got a coach for a reason. I'm the athlete. My coach is going to put me in the game when I'm ready to be in the game. And so
Hmm.
that's what I felt like, oh shit, he's the coach and coach going to put me in game when I'm up and ready to
Ready.
go. Not me
Hmm.
think, oh, I know how to, I always relate it to basketball. Oh, I'm ready to, I can dribble a ball, but I can't throw no free throws. But you know what? I want to go to that game. There's a game this
Yeah.
weekend and I want to go shoot some hoops, but I'm going to go get my ass kicked because I only know how to dribble the ball. You
Yeah.
know, coach is going to make sure that I know how to do all the things I need to do in order to go and hit some layups at that bitch next time I go. And so that's what it was with Cash. It's
Love the
like,
analogies.
like it. Yes.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. One, catching up with you, and two, just doing this podcast with you in general. One, I learned so much about your journey that, again, it's hard to share everything on social media and share everything that's
Yeah.
happened because sometimes, you see some people obviously, take time off and then all of a sudden third, but there's been this whole process in between. And I love now, like we've broken that down and we've just gotten to know
Yeah.
more of who Jazzy Fresh is. So it's really nice to see
Yeah.
it. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It really means a lot.
Of
Is there
course.
is there any information like Instagram? If I don't know if you do YouTube or anything like that, is there any information that people can just find you on?
Just go up on my Instagram at jazzyfresh.ifbbpro. I have a couple like broadcast channels that I do share on there, like just free. I don't charge for this stuff. You can follow my journey a little more closely. And I like to share the ins and outs of everything. So I'll never stop that. I'm never going to be one to hide shit under wraps because it's not who I am. I'm always about sharing my weekly check-ins, progress, stats. And so I feel like honestly, if I were to hide shit, that would add too much pressure for me. So I will not ever do that. I'm gonna keep sharing so everybody can
I
see
love
where shit
that.
is. Y'all gonna know what I'm bringing. Okay, we're not gonna play this
We
game.
love it. We love it. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Your energy has been insane this podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.